Stalking is not an overzealous pursuer. It is about gaining control of someone, often by inducing fear in them. Stalking can be terrifying to the victim and can lead to emotional and psychological harm, as well as other illnesses caused by chronic stress and fear. In this video, we will look at what constitutes as stalking, and the main reason a person may have for stalking, which groups stalkers into 5 different types of stalkers. What is stalking? Stalking is multiple unwanted contacts where the victim starts to fear for their safety. This could be repeated phone calls, inappropriate comments on social media posts, email, text messages, or letters in the post. Or it can go further, such as sending you gifts, repeatedly showing up at your house, work, or place you frequent, moving in next door, stealing or damaging your property, harming your pets, interfering with your relationships with other people, and attacking you. At its core, stalking is repeated attempts to gain control over a person or to terrorize the person, with utter lack of empathy for the wants, needs and feelings of the victim. The stalker feels entitled to the victim, and many stalkers feel that the victim is their property. Note that most actions the stalker does are legal under normal circumstances. To qualify as stalking, the actions need to be designed to gain power over the victim or cause emotional terror in them, and the victim needs to fear for their safety. Some states also require that an overt threat needs to be made. Thus, a secret admirer sending you birthday cards every year or flowers is not necessarily a stalker. Mental health and stalking. In general, few stalkers are psychopathic. However, many have traits of a cluster B personality disorders, being narcissistic, borderline, histrionic, and antisocial. The stalker often feels entitled and that the victim belongs to them, such as an ex-lover. Or the stalker may feel they are so special that anyone they choose would be over the moon to date the stalker. The stalker also has no empathy for the victim or the emotional distress the stalking behaviors are causing the victim. Stalkers often cannot handle rejection and fear abandonment. They frequently become obsessed with their target. This may become so bad that they forget to eat and sleep, and they may lose their work because of their obsession. They will change jobs and residence just to be close to their target. Stalkers often also have fantasies that they and their target are destined to be together. This can be because they saw a sign or heard voices telling them so, or had visions or dreams where they and their target are happily together. The stalker also frequently has no regard for laws, rules, or social norms, but feel they are above them. These traits fall in the cluster B personality disorders. However, this does not mean that all cluster B personality disorders are stalkers, just that they have a higher chance of becoming one. Different types of stalkers. Australian psychiatrist and stalking expert Paul Millen analyzed the conduct of 145 diagnosed stalkers and came up with 5 psychological profiles of stalkers. These profiles were meant for diagnosis and treatment of the perpetrators, but can give us an indication of why a person may stalk. The Intimacy-Seeking Stalker. The intimacy-seeking stalker is the most dangerous of all stalkers. They believe they are in love with the victim and that the victim loves them back. They could be a current romantic partner who the victim is trying to leave, an ex-romantic partner that does not want to let go, or a stranger to the victim. They are mentally ill and delusional. They may even start to behave as if they are already in a relationship with the victim, even though they never met. This could be buying the victim gifts that they hold for the victim, or having it delivered, making bookings for 2 people at restaurants, and even cooking and setting food for 2 people at their home as if the victim would be joining them. If the relationship is ongoing, then stalking can begin when the stalker suspects or knows that the victim wants to leave them, long before the relationship ends. As they are unable to accept being rejected and a breakup of a relationship, they begin to follow, threaten and harass the victim, which is often referred to as separation assault. With current or former romantic partners who start to stalk, there is a high likelihood of physical and sexual violence. The Rejected Stalker. With a rejected stalker, the relationship has ended, which they are unable to accept. They feel they are the victim and were led on or toyed with, and take the rejection as an insult. It is a critical blow to their ego, and they are seeking justice and revenge. They can become obsessed with seeking revenge and can cause a lot of problems as well as immense emotional damage to the victim. This kind of stalking is not limited to romantic relationships. It can be a friendship or even employment that ended. They are very likely to damage the victim's property and often nothing they do is ever enough. Thus, the person may continue their stalking and attacks for years or decades, although it may lessen in intensity over time. The Resentful Stalker. With a resentful stalker, they do not want a relationship with the victim. They want to retaliate against the victim due to overwhelming feelings of injustice. This could be because a stalker has a different political or spiritual view than the victim, or because the victim did something that triggered a deep wound in the stalker. The stalker may have been a devoted fan of a victim until the victim did something that angered the stalker, or the stalker found some information on the victim that caused them to suddenly hate the victim, as in the case of Mark Chapman, who killed John Lennon. The Incompetent Stalker. Just like the Intimacy-Seeking Stalker, the Incompetent Stalker also wants a romantic relationship with the victim. However, the Incompetent Stalker knows the victim does not reciprocate their love. They, however, continue with their behavior in the belief that the victim will eventually fall in love with them. They don't mean to harm or torment the victim, but are unaware that their behaviors are socially unacceptable and often cause fear in the victim. The stalker is often intellectually challenged and socially awkward. This causes them to be unable to comprehend the consequences of their actions. The Predator Stalker. The Predator Stalker has no desire for a relationship with a victim. Their sole purpose is control, violence, and sexual gratification. The stalker finds pleasure in gathering information about the victim and fantasizing about assaulting them physically and frequently sexually. They also seek power and control over the victim. The stalker often plans the attack in detail and has lots of sexual fantasies about it. Who are stalkers? Most studies found that around 70 to 80% of stalkers are men. Although there are outliers, some patterns have emerged in studies on stalkers in the United States. This indicates that many stalkers fall into the following patterns. They have low self-esteem, are shy or isolated, frequently live alone, feel that they are the most important person in the world, often unemployed or underemployed, in the late 30s to late 40s, and are often delusional. Few stalkers are varsity graduates. However, they often are more intelligent than most criminals. Dealing with a stalker is often not easy, as they are persistent, and it is not always easy to prove someone is a stalker. Tips on dealing with stalkers will be covered in a separate video. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative or helpful in any way, like and share it so that more people can benefit from it. If not subscribed, please subscribe now. Please leave a comment, as it helps to expand the information covered in the video, which may be of benefit to others. See my books on narcissism by following the links in the description. For donations, please use the donation button on the banner or follow the link in the description. Thank you.